Yes, sir. We're ready.
Okay. Attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright, to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheist. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, this am I commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself and do confess my faults. Please, Allah, grant me protection against my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. Please guide me to the best of morals, for none can guide to the best of morals but thee. Please turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou didst bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham, for surely thou art to be praised and magnified. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou didst make Abraham successful and the true followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art to be praised and magnified. Ameen.
Ameen.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Salam, sir.
I guess today will be one of those days where everyone can contribute.
Yes, sir. That's the game plan.
So who would like to begin?
So we are on part 28.
Boy, did this month go by fast.
Yes, it did. So Surah 58:7 was the first one I had tagged. Anyone have anyone ayat before that one?
What was that?
I have 58:7.
58:7. Nope, you're up, sister.
Okay, here we go.
I'm liking Brother Batin.
Yeah, he hit the camera on us. Okay. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. 58:7. Seest thou not that Allah knows whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth? There is no secret counsel between three, but he is the fourth of them, nor between five, but he is the sixth of them, nor between less than that, nor more, but he is with them wheresoever they are. Then he will inform them of what they did on the day of resurrection. Surely Allah is knower of all things. And when I read the wheresoever they are, it made me think of the static that we had been talking about. That Allah, there's no limit to his, where he can be, space, time, etc. So that's what stuck out to me in ayat number 7.
It's interesting that you bring up that point. There is a brother, I can't remember his name, but he was at Mother Tanetta's workshop when Savior's Day was in Los Angeles. I think that was 2003. She had a workshop that dealt with the wheels. It's a brother from Mexico. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling the story how he was taken into the wheels. And one of the things I remember him saying, and there's a video, I think, on YouTube, he said that the animals are one of the agents that those in the wheel use to observe people.
Wow.
And I thought that was interesting. Have you ever been someplace and there's nothing there, and all of a sudden a bird might just fly to the tree and it's just sitting there looking at you, and you wonder okay, why are you sitting there looking at me?
Yes, sir.
It's just one of those things, that. When he said that, it just triggered that thought that Allah is the all-eye seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's no limit to how he can observe.
Yeah, interesting. And funny,
But that
you would, not funny, but interesting you bring up Mother Tynette. I think today is her birth anniversary.
Is it really?
Yes, I do believe it is May 10th. Okay, does anyone else have anything on that one? If not, we can move on. Uh-oh, so I'm trying to get okay, we can move to another ayat. Anyone has anything after 7? Ayat number 7. Okay, I see Sister Haviva has joined us. Sister Haviva, are you available to read?
Assalamu alaikum, my dear family.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, I can read.
Walaikum salam, sister. And family, walaikum salam, family. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Quranic.
Sorry for being late.
That's okay. You're here.
Okay, thank you, brother. Had to handle one of my PCs.
Would anyone else like to go over an ayat?
What are we doing, family?
Everyone's gonna have a chance to contribute what they've observed or an ayat that they came across, and we're just gonna kind of discuss it, go through it, piece it apart.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if no one has anything, how about ayat? Okay, go ahead, Sister Sharon.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Islam.
I couldn't find it last night, but I'm stuck on the, if you all can help me, the 144,000 and somehow us connecting. This is becoming real to me, the 144,000, how we're going after to get our people. And brother's kind of mixed up, but I'm stuck on that because something is breaking through to me for understanding. So I haven't put the pieces together and I couldn't find it. I know the 144,000 is not in our rim right now, but I couldn't find that verse. So that's what I am stuck. Well, I'm focused on.
Okay, yes, ma'am. What we were trying to do, we'll put a pin in those ayats that aren't falling in part 28's reading.
Okay.
And we will revisit those unless Brother Lukman want to roll with that 140.
I'm more than happy. I love questions.
Oh, great. You have it.
Sister Belinda, could you pull up the definition for the word squared or square?
Sure.
Are you speaking about where that's found in the Bible?
It's in the Holy Quran and I could not locate it. It's in the Holy Quran. Or did I find it in the Bible?
No, the 144,000 is found in the Bible.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's in the Book of Revelations, Book of Revelations, chapter 14. You have, and I'll touch on it briefly. In chapter 13 of Revelations, you have those that have the mark of the beast, and the mark of the beast is his name. And then you have Revelations 14 that talks about those that were on Mount Zion with the Lamb, and they were singing a new song, and they were the 144,000. And the way that I've heard Mother Tynetta, do you have more definitions than that?
I'm still searching.
Okay. Mother Tanetta Muhammad once taught that the number 12 represents rulership. 12, when you square it, 12 squared is 144. And that 144,000, I believe she said, are individuals that had squared their behavior. The word square also means to make righteous or to make honest. So it was a mathematical way of explaining the righteous. They were those that had been squared. They had been 12 squared is the number that's raised to a higher power. So these were individuals that had been raised to a higher power. The way I had understood that just in my own study was, it said that they were with the Lamb of God on Mount Zion, and they had the name of his father in their head. So I looked at that as, we're not allowed to wear the name Farrakhan, but we have the name Muhammad, which was the name of his father, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I've always looked at the Lamb as Minister Farrakhan. When you look at Revelation chapter 5, there was one who took a book from the one that was on the throne. And I always looked at the one on the throne as Master Farah Muhammad. And then John the Revelator wept. And he wept because there was no one that could open the book and loose the seals. And an angel said, "Weep not. The lion has already opened the book and loosed the seals." But John the Revelator never saw the lion, but he saw the lamb. And to me, that meant the lamb and the lion were two different people, but the lion was the root of David. And we know David symbolically represents the minister. And the lion was the root of David, meaning a root feeds a tree. The root is what gives nourishment to the tree. So the lion of Judah, that was the root of David, represented the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was feeding the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was the lamb. Because John never saw the lion, but he saw the lamb. And to me, that was just two different people. So those that are on Mount Zion represent those that would be with Minister Farrakhan. Mm-hmm. And they would have his name, his father's name in their head, meaning they would abide by his teaching. Where he says go, they will go, and where they will stay from, that's where they will stay from.
Okay, that's much better for me now.
But the 144 it represents 12 squared. And if you understand that there's 9 basic systems of the body, but really altogether, if you include Dianetics, the science of the mind, which would be a system, there's actually 12 systems to the body. So those 12, the 12 squared, 144,000, those are individuals that have been raised to a higher power. Maybe they've been raised to a higher tone level. It's another way of looking at it.
Okay, all right. And one more thing, they will assist with the name in our head. We will assist in helping get all our people. That's what I kind of, am I incorrect to think that way?
No, because Mother Tanetta Muhammad, then she said that she mentioned 12 squared, and then their job would be to cube the rest of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Cube, when you say, go get them.
Cube is 12 to the third power. So you have 12 to the first power. That's just 12. Right. 12 squared would be 144. And 12 cubed, I believe, is 2016. But let me check.
Thank you, Sister Belinda. This is helpful. The definitions.
Yep. 1,728. So it just means that first they would be squared, and one of the definitions from square is, I never seen that definition before. Face to face, kind of like auditing.
Yeah.
So they would be made straightforward and in an honest manner. They would be raised to a higher power, which could be a higher tone level, and their job would be to cube the rest of humanity.
Okay, all right.
It's a mathematical theology.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
It was good for me too.
Praise be to Allah.
For the definitions.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, we'll go on to the next surah. I have Sister Haviva, 50, Surah 58, ayat number 10.
Yes, ma'am. In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Surah 58, the Pleading Woman. Ayat 10. Secret counsels are only of the devil, that he may cause to grieve those who believe. And he can hurt them not except with Allah's permission. And on Allah, let the believers rely. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Now, I've always wondered about the secret council, and then when we came into the world of Dianetics, it made me think of covert hostility. And I put the definition in the from the technical dictionary. Now, I hope I'm not off with the secret council and covert hostility, but it says around on the tone scale, 1. On the tone scale, we reached the level of covert hostility. I'm sorry, 1.1 on the tone scale, we reached the point of covert hostility. Here, the hatred of individuals has been socially and individually censored to a point where it is suppressed, and the individual no longer dares to demonstrate hate as such. He yet possesses sufficient energy to express some feelings on the matter, and so what hatred he feels comes forth covertly. All manner of subterfuges, how do you say that? Subterfuge may be resorted to. The person may claim to love others and to have the good of others as his foremost interest, yet at the same moment, he works unconsciously or otherwise to injure or destroy the lives and reputation of the people, and also to destroy property. So that's what I got out of secret councils.
So that's like an SP or a hypocrite.
Precisely. And for the who don't know about the SP, that's the suppressive personality. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You're on mute. You're on mute, beloved.
Thank you, Sister Belinda. One more thing. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about, and I want clarification. He was telling us about, I think, the suppressive person before I went into Scientology, when he talked about a certain percentage, I don't remember, runs this planet, and they lead to others. I'm paraphrasing. Can y'all elaborate on that? That he told us about the suppressive person without calling them that. I think it was in the Message to the Black Man.
You mean the 10%?
The 10%, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Slave makers of the poor?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
supreme wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's question number 17, I think. Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, I think.
Okay, I'll get that information for us. But definitely the 5, 10, and the 85%.
Yeah.
And that was your question, Sister Cheryl, as to what were they called? Or I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No, I just made reference that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about the suppressive person without calling them that, and I can't remember where I read that. I was very young when I was reading that, and that stuck with me when I went into Scientology at a young age.
Yes, ma'am.
So the 85% could be the aberrated, The 10% could be the ones that are causing the aberration, and the 5% are those that are either pre-clear or clear, possibly.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to put together the puzzle here.
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it in the chat when I locate it.
Okay.
So we can, okay, here we are. Okay, it says, who is the 10%? Answer, the rich, the slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies to believe that the almighty, true and living God is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as the bloodsuckers of the poor.
That's it, Sister Belinda.
Yes, ma'am. Praise.
Thank you.
Wow. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
You know, it was an exercise done with the personalities that you can't see. Like if I say happy, you could probably see that. Sad, you could probably see that. But if I say hypocrite, you know, sometimes a blank come up because that's like a deep personality that you can't see. Even if I say hatred, you couldn't see that, because those are things I'm learning that are active, you know, that you have to see the action in order to know what it is that people are doing. So as I was reading that, and what is that, a cognitive
Yeah, the cognition.
I had a cognition about that, because you can't see that. You can't see the hatred. You just, it's what people do. And because it's secret. And if a person have a secret, it's unknown until they make it known. But their action tells you what it is, even though their face, you know, smiling faces, that song. Sometimes tell lies, they don't tell the truth. You know. So that's what I was thinking about. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan once broke down the word hypocrite, and he said the word hypo means under, and I believe he said crit means critical or critique, and a hypocrite is one who criticizes undercover.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, does anyone else have an ayat? I don't want to be the only one popping them out here.
Let's see.
I have.
Yes, ma'am. Why don't we do the next one? 11.
All right. Take it away, Sister Habiba.
Yes, ma'am. Ayat 11. O you who believe, when it is said to you, make room in assemblies, make room. Allah will give you ample. And when it is said, rise up, rise up. Allah will exalt those of you who believe, and those who are given knowledge to high ranks. And Allah is aware of what you do. Allahu Akbar. Should I continue, beloved?
She might want to expound on that.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Was that why, Sister? That was Sister Denise, right? No. Who suggested go to that one? I wasn't looking at the screen.
They just suggested that we go to the next one.
Okay, I thought that was a.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I thought I had unmuted. I was thinking about how when people come into something new and you've been there already. So you sort of know how things goes and things like that. And there was a saying that that treat people the way that you want to be treated, remembering when there was a time that what you know you didn't know that. And how we have to have patience. I think Brother Batim was talking about that P word, about patient, you know, with others, and you know, make room and not be selfish, feeling like this is mine, you know, these are my believers, this is my faith. Like it's yours personally.
Yes.
So as I was reading, I was thinking about that, you know, because sometimes if others coming in and they starting where we are, they used to teach us in MGT class, if you've been the cook all the time, that now it's time for you to get your own restaurant or move to another level, start catering. You know, you move from one level to another. Yes, ma'am. That's all I was thinking about.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, Brother Lukman.
I think when it's said and done, we all have to realize that we as individuals don't have followers. And we have,
that.
even though Allah might allow us to have our groups and we all have our purpose, but when it's all said and done, we all belong to the minister. And yeah, I guess maybe sometimes we, you know, I'm just speaking generally, but sometimes we might forget. It's like when the minister talked about, you know, sometimes you get the lollipop, then you get to a point where you don't want to give the lollipop back. You got to realize it's not your lollipop.
That's right. Yes, sir.
On another level, where it says those who are given knowledge to high ranks, the Arabic word is daraja, and daraja also means tone.
Mm.
It means a path, a route, or a course. It means to rise. It means a degree, step, or tone, or level of intelligence.
Above 2.0.
I would think it's above 2.0.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Okay, we'll go on to another surah. Does anyone have one? If not,
Belinda,
yes, ma'am.
I hope I'm asking this right, but I was just wondering in 19 about the word mastery. I mean, I know mastery, but as it relates to dynamics.
You want to read 19 for us, please?
Wow.
Okay, she left. I'll read 19. The devil has gained the mastery over them. So,
Excuse me, Sam, I got off. Could you tell me what you said?
would you like to read 19, please?
Okay, yes, ma'am, I can do that. Ayat 19. The devil has gained the mastery over them, so he has made them forget the remembrance of Allah. They are the devil's party. Now, surely the devil's party are the losers.
Okay, I'm trying to. Does anyone want to take a shot at what mastery means?
I can give you the Arabic.
Yes, sir.
The word in Arabic means to overpower with emotion, to overwhelm, to take possession.
Mm.
So it's almost like describing aberration. To be the devil taking mastery is like the reactive mind overcoming us when we become low tone.
Mhm. Does that help you, sister?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, beloved.
Praise be to Allah. That happened to be one of the ayats that I had picked out as well.
Mhm. And that word mastery and it not being capitalized, I had a conversation with a sister about capitalization of words in particular sentences. So if that had been like capital mastery, then we're talking about Allah's mastery. There's a difference when, and maybe that's why you kind of felt some kind of way about that mastery. Because, of Allah's attribute of mastery would have been a capital mastery. And I'll put in the chat if I can find it real quick about why some things are capitalized like that.
Yeah, mastery with regards to Allah would have been Malik. The word Malik.
In Arabic, yes.
How do you spell that, Malik?
MALIK. But
And
it's a long A. So it's
Oh,
M-A.
It's
Like Malik Yawm
Malik?
Ad-Din.
Okay. Because isn't it pronounced Malik? No?
No, Malik means king. When you deal with the 99 attributes, you have Malik or Malik, and you have Malik with a long A. Malik means king. Malik with the long A represents master.
Okay.
And Allah is both Malik and Malik. When you enunciate the A, it represents mastery.
Brother Lukman,
Yes, ma'am.
could distraction also be part of mastery? Distractions. He just keep distractions, things that distract you from the remembrance of Allah, where your focus is on something other than.
Yes. And the reason why I believe that is one of the reasons why I refuse to watch TV during Ramadan, because we can get so absorbed into, I'm a diehard Trekkie. I like science fiction. And you can get so tied into a TV show or something on TV, get so distracted by something that when the alarm goes off to make salat, you snooze the alarm because you're so stuck on what you say, okay, I'm gonna make my prayer. And as soon as I finish watching this episode, I'll go make my prayer. But it's like, that's like, okay, if you knew someone was calling you and they said, look, I'm gonna call you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And when you answer the phone, I'm gonna send you a cash app of $10,000, but you can't miss the phone call. As soon as that phone rang, you stop what you're doing and go hit that phone call. But we have a tendency to put God by the wayside. Say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that when I get finished with this over here. So this world is set up on distractions to keep us away from. And there's a verse I keep written right here by my desk. It says, and whoever turns himself away from the remembrance of the beneficent, we appoint for him a devil. So he is his associate. And surely they hinder them from the right path and they think they are guarded right. So distraction takes us away from the remembrance. That's exactly what this world is a distraction.
Yes, sir.
Sport and play.
Okay, does anyone else have another ayat if we're ready to move?
I got 59-2.
Okay, let's go there.
Okay, 59-2. Name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful, the exiled Jews. Ayat 2. He it is who caused those who disbelieved of the people of the book to go forth from their homes at the first banishment. You deem not that they would go forth, while they thought that their fortresses would defend them against Allah. But Allah came to them from a place they expected not, and cast terror into their hearts. They demolish their houses with their own hands and the hands of the believers. So take a lesson, O you who have eyes.
When I was looking at that ayah, it was you know, a place where you expect not. Sometimes we have a tendency to think that the persecution is going to come from outside, but and I can't remember where I heard this from. It might have been Theology of Time, but I'm not sure. But what I remember is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying, in the last day, the one thing you want to pray for is your sanity. And I think to receive a punishment from where we expect not is actually from within our own mind, because no matter where we go, we can't get away from ourselves. And that's, I think, where the punishment is going to come in. And as a result of being aberrated, we wind up being where it says, and they demolish their house with their own hands. That's like being the effect of your own cause.
Sure. Okay, so the next one I have, if no one has anything, is in that same surah number 14, ayat 14.
Yes, ma'am. That's 59, beloved? Okay, I see it.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Two. Ayat 14, they will not fight against you in a body save in fortified towns or from behind walls. Their fighting between them is severe. Thou wouldst think them united, but their hearts are divided. That is because they are a people who have no sense. Oh, wow.
Okay, now that the sentence, thou wouldst think them united, but their hearts are divided. Now, if I'm reading that correctly, that is the hypocrites' hearts are divided. Am I on the right path with that one? Yay, nay.
Yeah, yes. Because ayah 11 is talking about the hypocrites. I think it's describing the hypocrites.
Mhm.
Yes, how's thou not seeing the hypocrites? So the division of the hearts of the hypocrite is what stood out for me.
So if the word heart represents mind, the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Mhm.
So, hearts being divided could be like double-minded.
Yes, sir. And we know in the text, the analytical mind and the reactive mind
Mhm. Mhm.
definitely lead to division of the heart.
Mhm.
Speak to Allah. Okay, that's all I had on that one. Now I don't have anything else before ayat 61. Do we have anything in 59 or 60?
There was one phrase that kept popping up. It always talks about the companions of the fire and the owners of the garden.
Yes.
I looked up the word companions of the fire, and the word in Arabic is sahaba. And the word also means addicted. The companions of the fire literally could mean those that are addicted. So, if any of us had something we fought with in the past, we could be considered a companion of the fire at that time.
Addicted to our wrongdoing.
Yes, ma'am.
Woo.
And then the owners of the garden, I guess, is those who are cause, the own, the maker's the owner. But I just see, I saw that phrase come up more than once, so it kind of stood out to me.
And along the lines of the contrast that we've been talking about, the contrast between those who will earn the fire and those who will earn the garden.
That's 64:9. That's the one I chewed on that one.
Yes, sir.
I chewed on that one.
So we're headed that way. We're headed that way. Sister Jacqueline, did you have something, beloved?
Yes, ma'am. I have ayat 16, 59:16.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Ayat 59:16. Like the devil when he says to man, disbelieve. But when he disbelieves, he says, I am free of thee. Surely I feel Allah, the Lord of the worlds.
When I looked at that, that took me to Surah 114, ayat 4. From the evil of the whispering of the slinking devil who whispers into the hearts of men.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me that they're talking about the jinn, and the reactive mind being below 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
When you're below 2.0, you allow those type of things to germinate into the mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Man. Anything else in 59 or 60?
Brother Lukman,
Yes.
would you please go back over the definition or the meaning that you gave for the owners of the garden once again, please?
The owners of the garden. The word garden is Jannah. It means paradise, but it also means heart and it means soul. And let's see, that was 59:20. The word owner. Ashabu. Let's see, 59. What ayat was that? Oh, the owner, 59:20.
20?
That was 20.
Yes, 59,
Okay.
59:20.
I thought I looked up that word. Sod. The word owners means, let's see, sod. Maybe I got the right one. Sod. Oh, I do have it. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Sod. Okay, that's within Hard H, here we go. Okay, the word owner. It means companion, friend, escort, associate. Possessor. So it's the owner of the garden would be if the, and this is just the way my perspective of it, if the garden represents the mind or the heart, the owner of the garden would be one that has control of. One who is no longer aberrated. They are owner of their garden. They are in control of their mind. They are a cause and not effect.
Yes, sir.
Whereas the companions of the fire, the word fire in Arabic is nur. And there's a phrase, it's called Sheikh al-Nur. Sheikh al-Nur is like a sheikh, I think it's like a teacher. Sheikh al-Nur is the teacher of fire, which is another phrase they use to describe the devil. You have people that own their mind, and then you have people that are stuck in addiction. That's like the modern way of looking at it. People that are aberrated and people that are on the pathway to not being aberrated, on the pathway to being clear. Those that are aberrated, I would almost want to guess 9 times out of 10, if you see someone who's severely aberrated, if they're low toned, then there's probably, now I'm coming from just from the medical standpoint, there would be some type of an addiction there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And if you want to learn more about that, what is his name? There is just give me 1 second. There's a psychologist. I'll find the book before we close out, but the way he explains addiction, as you listen to him, you can hear Dianetics. You can hear having understanding of Dianetics, and then listen to this doctor talk about addiction. You can tie it together, and I mean it's profound. It even gives you a deeper insight into the diet. He's not a Scientologist, but you can see where you can see where it crosses over.
Yes, sir.
When you were speaking on that, it made me think of why the Savior came in the first place. We have been made other than ourselves. So
Yes.
all of these addictions to this world and everything outside of the God's lifestyle is what came to mind.
So how low on the tone scale do you have to go to be in that addictive mindset? You said, did you give a certain?
In my opinion, based on what L. Ron Hubbard has taught, he says that whenever you go, I think below like 2.5, I believe is boredom, correct?
Correct.
And then there's a verse that says, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So whenever we're bored, whenever we're sitting still, we are coming close to that 2.0. And I believe L. Ron Hubbard states that whenever you fall below 2.0, that's when the engrams turn on.
That is correct.
So the thing is to keep ourselves busy. The Most High Elijah Muhammad said, when you're sick, work. When you're this, work. When you're not sick, work. Stay busy. Because as soon as we sit still, that's when the whispering comes. You know, you're sitting still and it's like, well, I sure could go for something to eat right now.
That's right.
During Ramadan, it's like, you know, because, you know, it's nothing like a good movie and a bag of chips, you know, it's like,
That's right.
you know.
And that's why you turn that TV off, right?
I purposely turn the TV off unless I'm a diehard Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek. I personally don't have cable TV because one, I'm not paying all that money for stations I'm not going to watch, and two, the way they do some of the movies now and some of the TV shows, they get you so focused in on they draw you into the show, and then what happens is they hit you with a scene out of left field so quick you don't have a chance to turn away from it.
Right.
And the stuff that they're showing is just garbage. I won't go into detail. There's a series that came out called the what was the name of that series? It was that sister Regina from 227. She's all grown up now.
Regina King.
Regina King. She plays in it. She's a police officer, but they cover their faces.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking about?
And then they show at the end the black man was really the God, but he was hidden all along, right in plain sight. I thought that was interesting. And he turned blue, which I thought was interesting. But there was one scene that you're watching, and out of the blue, a scene pops up, and it's like, oh man, you know, there's certain things I don't want to see.
Right.
But they do it purposely to catch you off guard, and that's why I just like I don't even watch TV. You know?
It's a subtle implant that they do.
Yes.
You say implant.
Yes.
They put in there.
Catch you because
So,
they.
Brother Lukeman, are you saying that there always is going to be whisperings? There's never going to be a time when the whisperers decease, or
As
does
long
it
as
get?
Oh, go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
So as long as we are inhabited in vessel, if we raise and become clear, does the whispering stop, or does it just elevate to a higher whisperer?
I'll answer your question like this, with your permission, Sister Belinda.
Yes, sir.
As long as we're in North America, there's going to be whispering. The Watchmen. Thank you.
That's
What it was. That would have bothered me all day. I've been like that bothered me all day. As long as we're in North America, there's going to be whispers. Now, this is my opinion of how I perceive this scripture. This is just my way, because I believe to make the scriptures personal, and that the way we can relate to them. When Jesus was in the wilderness being tempted by the devil, Minister Farrakhan said that devil was in his mind. And I think that I got that from one of the study guides. But now, if you look at the 3 trials, the way that I looked at those 3 trials with regards to whispering, the first thing the devil said was, turn these stones to bread. The second thing he said was, cast yourself off the temple to allow the angels to catch you before your foot dashed against the stones. And then the third temptation was, if you bow down to me, I'll give you all that you can see. But when I look at that as a modern translation, just in my personal life, turning stones to bread would mean we can't consume stones, but we can consume bread. So turn stones to bread means justify doing wrong. Take something you know you're not supposed to do and justify doing it. Minister Farrakhan calls that deceptive intelligence. What Jesus said was, see, that was a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus said, get thee behind, a man cannot live by bread alone. Now, how many times have we been in a situation where the whisper comes to have us do something that we know we ain't supposed to do, but we let that thought sink in and we find a way to do it and then justify doing it? Well, you know, I haven't done this in a long time,
Right.
you know,
right.
and I have been fasting for 30 days. I haven't done it for 30 days. So,
That's
and if you're like me, I always say, and I'm not clear yet. And
That sounds like the spider web. That sounds like the spider web.
Now we're about to walk to the spider web. So that's the first. Now, again, this is just my interpretation. This is how I used to teach it. So the first step to sin is justifying it in your mind. Cast yourself off the temple to me meant now you got to put yourself in the environment to sin. So sometimes we say, yeah, I'm going to go and do this. They say, I don't think you should do that. No, God is going to save me. God ain't going to let me fall victim to that. I'm sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. We come up with all these things. So now we justify the thought to sin in our mind. But in order to sin, you have to be in the environment. You have the seed. Now you need the soil. You got to put yourself in the right soil to allow the seed to germinate.
Right.
So then justification, turn this stone to bread, cast yourself off the temple, because now we're putting ourselves in an environment that we know we have no business being in. I know to this day, even though I've been in the nation for some years, I'm still not going to tempt faith by putting myself in certain environments.
That's right.
Then the third trial is bow down to me and I'll give you all that you can see. So in order to sin, you have to justify it in your mind. You have to put yourself in the environment, but then you have to submit. In all three stages, those are whispering. The whisperer gives you to justify the thought in your mind. The whisperer now, and okay, I'll use myself as an example. It might not have been during Ramadan. It might have been, I had cleaned my diet the first week or so, dropped my blood pressure down, dropped some weight, everything was great. And then the whisperer said, there's a place right down the street where I like to get my coffee at. Go down there and just get something to snack on. You can use the snack to break the fast or whatnot. And I'm like, because I know little snack becomes big snack. So I had it in my mind just to get a little something. I went to the grocery store, that's what it was. So now I got to put myself in the environment. And Lord knows you should never go shopping during Ramadan while you're fasting.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I turned the stone to bread. I put myself in the environment. I'm not gonna buy all this stuff. I'm just gonna buy this one little thing. And then when I got to the store, I bowed. I came home with chips and I came home like, what? But that's just a funny way of looking at the whispering.
Yes,
The
sir.
whisperer was going to always be there, but the example of Jesus was every time the whisperer whispered, he had a response. You shall not live by bread alone. Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Don't put yourself in environments that you still have a weakness in. And then lastly, he said, get thee behind me, Satan.
That's right.
But that's just a modern translation of the temptation. I'm sorry, I'm long-winded, but that's
Oh, that was excellent.
that's the chapter.
That's good. It's very good. Very good.
And I have one comment about the TV. If I'm not mistaken, didn't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that the devil would be in our living room?
Yes.
And he was referring to the TV.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I remember that.
Praise be to Allah.
And in the Holy Quran, Allah mentions that he mentions something as an affair of great resolution. And resolution means now you have a 4K TV, so you can see it in better color now.
Great detail.
Great detail. But some of the stuff that's on TV now, I refuse. I refuse. Star Trek is from the early 90s, so it was still clean. You didn't have all this other stuff that was it's disgusting now.
What the TV makes it live and in person, huh? Bring it right into your person, right there.
It tells lies to the vision.
Oh my God, it tells lies to the vision. Okay. Okay.
Can I make one more statement?
Yes,
Sister Melinda reminded me of this. When I was a child coming up in the nation, I had heard the the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in the last day that the devil would do a lot of building, I'm paraphrasing, and they would encourage interracial couples. I'm paraphrasing that. Since Sister Belinda brought it up, brother, can you make a statement to that? And if the ayat, we can, well, we don't have to go to ayat, but if you can make a statement about that, because I was reminded of that as a grown woman from one of my childhood Muslims.
Belinda?
About on TV, like you see interracial couples.
You said the last day they would be building like crazy, and they would promote interracial dating. And remember, I'm paraphrasing.
Yes, ma'am. Now I don't recall the interracial promotion part, but I do recall hearing that they would be building until the last day, that the devil would be building until the very last day of the day of judgment.
Yes, ma'am.
The commercials I see today, they always have black and white together, whether it's the black man with the white. I said, I never seen so many black people on TV in my life. And they make subtle suggestions, just two women in bed, but they not doing anything. They just sitting there,
right?
Acting like they not together, or the black man and the white woman, are we in business together? They don't touch each other, but they put them together and they taking selfies together and things like that. I have seen that.
Yes,
so yes, ma'am. That's what I was thinking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, but
Message to the Black Man, page 127. He says, it is his first and last trick to deceive the people of God through the woman or with the woman. He is using his woman to tempt the black man by parading her half nude before his eyes and with public lovemaking, indecent kissing, and dancing over radio and television screens and throughout their public papers and magazines. So he said the last trick would be the Caucasian woman. Now, on one level, I can't really complain about it, because obviously when you see my complexion, obviously there's some Caucasian in there somewhere. But my mother, who is actually Italian, she loves Minister Farrakhan. But me personally, I don't condone it because I understand it, but I'm a product of it. So, but I don't condone it because, especially in this day and time, I don't believe a Caucasian woman could really understand. And if it's a woman's job to help make a black man a better black man, that has to be done by a black woman. But I am grateful and thankful to my mother, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I remember the minister mentioning just looking at our different hues. That is, I don't want to say the word stain, but it bears witness to the mixing of the races throughout the lineage.
Yes, ma'am. It's also said they are disagreeable to live with. So imagine being married to them and mischief makers.
Muslim.
And yes. And I, my addiction was divorce court with the little young Faith. She was dealing with relationship with the black and white couples. And I'm saying, which part of Message to the Black Men are you all missing here? Because it's so complicated for them. That's real simple to black people, but it's complex when they get it. And it's, so I was thinking about that as you were talking, not that but it's insanity, whichever way Whichever way you shake it, it's gonna come out insanity. Okay. Yes, yes, ma'am. I'm talking about us too.
34.
We're insane too.
Walaikum salam.
Mr. President.
Don Kareem, sir.
I don't really try to promote this, but I know it's better late than never.
What's that?
I'm saying it's better late than never.
For you to be on with us, is that what you're saying?
Yes, his tardiness.
Yeah.
Yes, his tardiness.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes.
So, do you have?
Let's go promote something.
I thought he was saying,
I was waiting.
better late than never. Connected to what we were just talking about was, but
It's like, oh no. How about never? How about never?
But let me try something here. I'm gonna come off video, and maybe you can hear me better, but I'll leave my mic.
Okay.
I remember early, I think in the 90s, Young Mrs. Farrakhan referred to a lot of the advertisement that was taking place. That time I was in New York, and you could see on the buses, the taxi, you could see like men, the advertising men in the underwear, with just the underwear. And he talked about these things, what we're seeing now on television, or in the movies, or in real time. And if you look at some of the commercials, I can refer to one, I think it's an AIDS commercial. I've all seen it. They're promoting medication for AIDS, and two men actually, go through the process of kissing.
That's right.
Now, these are things that when we go to the movies with our children and we see these things with eyes. So now we can't even do that because they're in your homes, in your bedrooms. Now, so these are the days that we're living in. We have to be mindful that we're coming into the end, or we're in the end. Also, we talk about the interracial. On the fact that Mrs. Farrakhan told us that Caucasian will be in the year after. You may be able to expand on that, Brother Lukman, a little bit. Maybe you can make it more visual for us.
Sister Belinda?
Go for it.
I have to yield to the host.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes. Pardon me. I wasn't sure who was.
Oh no, I'm just a visitor.
Now, Brother Lukman got those marching orders before you all came on.
I still have to yield to the host.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Two things I would say briefly to that. One thing I've heard the minister say in to justify because I have heard of brothers in the nation that are registered believers that are married to Caucasian women. Right. The minister did say also that love does transcend color.
Right.
So, we have to look at both sides of what the minister said. So if love transcends color, if a Black man is in a relationship with a Caucasian woman and she has been with him through thick and thin, then it would be considered disrespectful now to become a registered believer and just kick her to the curb if she's been there. If it's genuine love, as the minister has said, then there's nothing you can say about that. His words were, love transcends color. Now, with regards to the Black woman, when you look at the ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian tradition, you have Osiris, who represents the black god or the black man, and he was separated into 14 parts. And it was Isis, or the black woman, who searched out and helped put him back together again. And I found that interesting, that not only was he cut into 14 pieces and was reassembled by the black woman, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1 has 14 questions. And the last one is, what is the meaning of MGT and GCC? So that's a kind of way of justifying the interracial relationships, if in fact, and what the minister said to qualify it, he says, if it's true love, and I'm paraphrasing it, but if it's just if it's a black woman or a black man who wants to experience a white woman or vice versa, then that in itself is not acceptable. But if it's true love, love transcends color. However, it is the job of the black woman to help put the black man back together again. And I believe that that's why 75% of the work is done with the black woman, because she has a greater work to do still in the near future of we could say, of squaring the man. Minister Farrakhan always speaks about Mother Khadijah and how she helped him to become the man that he is.
It's a book called Fascinating Womanhood. And I remember when I purchased that book for $1.25. And all of a sudden it became a reading that we had to read in our class. And a Caucasian woman wrote that book. And I was reading it and I said, when did she get in the MGT class? You know, the whole book deals, you know, with if you want to be, you know, if you want a fascinating woman life. Now, if you just want any type of life, you can have that. But the book was so tailored toward the MGT, and I was just mesmerized how this Caucasian woman knew about different aspects of the female. And I said, she has to, either she been studying the Messenger's teaching, or she got to be married to a black man, because he will definitely teach you how to deal with him, you know. So I was just thinking about that as you was talking about the what is the duty of the, you know, the MGT and GCC, question number 14. I was just thinking about that book, and it's worldwide, and it's a very, very good book. So, and it's, I was surprised a Caucasian wrote that book, but she did. So.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks, Salam.
I can definitely speak to that, Sister Denise.
Yes, ma'am.
With my experience as a child, I was only with my birth mother, who passed recently, until I was age 2. And after my mom and dad broke up, my father married a white English woman, and he got custody of me. And so she became my mother, and she raised me. And as I was growing up, you know, my father was, you know, Brother Clinton, you know how our parents were from the islands.
Yes.
Very, very strict. You've heard the minister talk about his mother. And when I listen to the minister, I feel like I'm listening, you know that he's talking about my parents and the way, how strict they were. But that strong black man, that strong black father figure, you know, that didn't only apply to the children, but it applied to the wife as well. In that, you know, I saw her, you know, her submission to his, I use the word dominance, but not in the fact of being a dictator, not in that way, but it was the word that you just used, Denise, that her surrender and submission to his guidance, that, you know, she had no choice but to bow to, you know, to bow to it and to yield to that. And I saw her struggle sometimes as a white woman, not really understanding it all the time. But yet and still she had this reverence for him, because in her, I could see in her mind, it's like, who is this man? You know, how is it that he stands up to, you know, nothing frightens him. You know, the police show up and he just stands up to them. I remember one time, my oldest sister, my stepsister, she was one of these children that was a runaway a lot of the time. And, you know, a couple of times we had to call the police for them to go out in search of her. And I remember one time when they brought her home, the policeman came to the door and asked to speak to my father. And the policeman was telling him, well, she, you know, she reported that you gave, you know, that she had gotten a beating, you know, while, you know, West Indian parents, you know, that's just part of parenting, the parenting style. And I mean, I can remember seeing my father, or, you know, my stepmother, my stepsister, and myself standing behind him, and him addressing the policeman that I run this household. So what I say goes, and if I'm going to beat my children, I'm going to beat my children. So, you know, in other words, you just don't come to my door and tell me how I'm going to run my household. And, you know, that's the type of strength that he portrayed. And, you know, having to watch my stepmother sometimes, you know, just not understanding it, but at the same time, in her eyes, she had never met such a man as this. And she really looked up to him. So I can attest to that.
Praise be to Allah.
What kind of making men?
So if we don't have anything else on those surahs, Brother Clinton, did you have a surah? We don't want to leave you out that you would like for us to go. That was in part 28, sorry.
No, ma'am. I didn't highlight anything.
Okay.
Morning, not at all.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if I've highlighted something previously from our previous reading.
Okay.
If I locate it, then I'll just bring it up.
Yes, sir. So do we have anything? Are we in Surah 60? If not, we will go to 61. Okay, Sister Habiba, if you could read for us Surah 61, Ayat 8.
Yes, ma'am. Surah 61, Ayat 8. They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will perfect his light, though the disbelievers may be averse. Allahu Akbar.
Brother Lukman, oh, his hand is up. Praise be to Allah.
My hand was up actually for a different ayat, but
Okay.
I can mention something about this one.
Okay, we'll go to yours first, and then we'll come back to this one.
I'm way up at that we had talked about 64:9.
Oh, you all the way up there?
I can wait. Yeah, I can wait till we get up to 64.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes. So we'll do this one and then we'll go to 64. Light, if in Arabic. Now, what was in Webster's was something that makes vision possible, spiritual illumination, truth, something that enlightens or informs. So they desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. But Allah will perfect his light, though the disbelievers may be adverse. And I was wondering in Arabic about the word light.
In Arabic, the word is nur, like brother Nuri.
Worry. Mhm.
And when I'm looking at this, there's another ayat that explains light. It's Surah 24, verse 35, and it speaks about the light as being a gift from God. So when it says those that desire to put out the light of Allah, to me, the word invalidation comes to mind.
Mhm.
Like sometimes we may have great ideas, and sometimes, and I've heard Minister Farrakhan say this, sometimes if you have a great idea, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Because as soon as you say you have a certain idea, you have individuals that will try to invalidate the idea. And there's an old saying, I remember seeing this years ago, and it said that those who say that something can't be done should never interrupt the one that's doing it.
Yes, sir.
I will remember that one.
Yes, ma'am.
All
When,
right.
every morning we'd come in, I was working at a financial institution, and there'd be a quote on our computers. As soon as we log in, a quote, and out of all the time I worked, that one quote always stayed with me. They desire to put the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will perfect his light. You know, that's, to me, that's invalidation.
Mhm.
Like when we come to these groups right here, these groups right here help to also validate, because we're all on the same plane, same thought. So we can throw certain thoughts around and we understand it. But there's certain things that for me personally, I speak about here that I only speak about this with a certain group of people. Because as soon as I shared, like at the firehouse, I can't have these discussions because these guys will start invalidating all day because they just want to watch the game and
Right.
whatever. So people will try to put our light out.
Yes, sir. All right. Brother Clinton.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Let me come off of video again and see if you can hear me clearer. Oh, yes, I highlighted one here in Surah 62, ayat 5. I don't know if you all went through that before. It says, the likeness of those who were charged with the Torah, then they observed it not, is as the likeness of the ass carrying books. Just think about that. So evil is the likeness of the people who rejected the messages of Allah, and Allah guides not the iniquitous one, the iniquitous people. I remember even in my village in Jamaica back in the days, there were some brilliant people who they claimed brilliance. And, you know, I admired them for that. But, you know, they would express themselves eloquently in some ways. And they'll have a highly charged conversation, which will hold your attention. But then their lifestyle is not reflecting, you know, what they express in their conversation. I never know how to take that, if it was just humility or they just not putting their words in their works, or putting their works where they put their money where their mouth is, if you know what I mean. They'll be walking barefooted. They'll be the most raggedy person, but they sound eloquent. So this reminds me of that, where it's to say for those the likeness of those who were charged with the Torah. They were charged with the Torah, but then they observed it not, and as the likeness of the ass and the donkey carrying books.
Yes, sir.
You're on mute, sister.
Oh, sorry. Brother Luke, mine?
Sister Cheryl had her hand up before.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
Just real quick, I wanted to say, what Brother Lucan was talking about when people discourage you, that I look at these sessions that you all are feeding us as a group, but then you're giving us strength to go out and do our individual missions, which is connected to what we're doing here. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to kind of validate, the uniqueness that y'all doing is help feeding us to go out and do what Allah sent us to do. I hope I said that.
This is like the huddle, and we all get to play, and then we say break, and then we all go.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Continuing with what Brother Clinton was saying, there's an ayat in the Holy Quran where it talks about a jackass carrying books. And there's a saying that if a jackass has books, it goes to the top of the mountain. What is it when it comes back down? It's just a jackass carrying books. Because it carries the books, but it can't read them. And that's like individuals that have all this book knowledge and theory, but cannot transfer it into practice. It's like an incomplete cycle of action. To read is the start, and then there's no change and stop. So a person that has a lot of books with no application, that's like an unfinished cycle. And then Allah says in the Holy Quran, she says, the most hateful of voices is the braying of asses. Huh?
Yes, I was agreeing with you. Yes, sir.
The most hateful voice is the braying of asses. So it's like you have people that have all this book knowledge, they sound great and wonderful, but they have the common sense of a box of rocks, so we just got to make sure none of us are jackasses carrying books.
Exactly.
But now on the flip side of this, if we took out the word Torah and put in message to the black man,
That's right.
or put in how to eat to live,
The teachings.
or put in the teachings, how many of us would fall into that category? I'd be one of the first.
Yep. Yes, sir. Okay, so we're going to go to your 64.
I'd like to do 64-2 first, if I could.
Sure.
Sister Habiba, she's still on?
Yeah.
I'm still on. I just need a minute to get to it. Was that 64? I'm sorry, the ayat?
64 and 2. This verse I've always had some thoughts about this ayat.
Yes, sir.
Disbelievers 1. Ayat 2. He it is who created you, but one of you is a disbeliever, and one of you is a believer. And Allah is seer of what you do.
Now, one time, me and a good friend of mine, brother, we were looking at this verse, and I can't remember if he said it to me or I said it to him, but basically I was saying, like, brother, does that, if Allah says he's created all things in pairs, I said, could that mean that we are born with two minds, and one aspect of ourself is a believer and one aspect of ourself is a disbeliever? And then as I traveled a little further into the text, in the creation of human ability, he makes a statement. Let's see if I can give it verbatim. He makes a statement about the genetic entity. And he says, of course, now I won't be able to find it. He makes a statement about the genetic entity, where the genetic entity was supposed to be a tool used by the analytical mind. Oh, come on. Well, he says that the genetic entity was a tool to be used by the analytical mind, but then became its master. So I was thinking that the two, where you're born and one is a believer and one is a disbeliever, our spiritual self, the thetan, the center of awareness, is a believer and strives to be right, But our physical body wants, oh, here it is. The physical body is a disbeliever. The physical body doesn't believe in fasting. The physical body doesn't believe in prayer. And that's why we're always warring. The physical body, when it's time to eat, the physical body wants food. But the spiritual side says we have to fast. But it says, this is the creation of human ability, page 291. It says, the other type of mind resembles nothing if not an electronic brain. It receives its data in terms of conviction delivered by force. It is directed by and reacts to hidden influences rather than observed influences, and is to a large extent the reverse image and has reverse intentions to the analytical mind. This we call the reactive mind. Then it goes on to say that, and where the course of the analytical mind is progressively upward, the course of the reactive mind is progressively downward. The reactive mind comes into being as a servant of the analytical mind and is set up by the analytical mind to work upon and store data about the basic uncertainty that there might be something and there might be nothing. The reactive mind then continues in growth, and from the servant, if the analytical mind does not observe it, tends to become the master.
Wow.
And then there's a verse in the Holy Quran where Allah says, I have created you with a driver and a witness. So he's telling us, I've created you and I've put something in you that is a driver. It wants urges. And then the witness is the one who observes. And I thought about the reactive mind and the file clerk. But created in pairs, one is a believer, one is disbeliever. That makes more sense to me if in my opinion, if I looked at it as we're born with these two minds. But that's just how I observed it.
Well, that made me think of the brown germ. So
yes,
that gives you that propensity to have that disbeliever within.
Mm-hmm. And he says he's created every prophet with a devil. So we as those that are striving, we're born with our devil.
That's right.
And as children, our bodies dictated everything that we did. The minister said, when you look at a child, look at its face when it doesn't get what it wants. It turns red with rage. As children, our reactive mind, our genetic entity is in full. We don't have anything to counterbalance that.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of I don't know. And I asked my children, who broke this? They said, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you bring me, I don't know. If I don't know lives here and I don't know broke it, I said, go tell I don't know. I need to see him. And they looked, I said, you sure it's not somebody? Maybe somebody lives here, but I don't know, do not live here. Okay. And they would look like, what's she talking about? I don't know. I said, go bring me, I don't know. Or go bring me somebody. Because it's a body that broke that thing right there. So they were like, Mama, is this reverse psychology? I said, no, it's you told me I don't know, don't live here. So go get her.
That's cute.
That is. Okay, did you have another one, Brother Lukman, in
64:9.
64:9. All right, let's bring it. Sister
Ayah 64:9. The day when he will gather you for the day of gathering, that is the day of the manifestation of losses. And whoever believes in Allah and does good, he will remove from him his evil and cause him to enter gardens wherein rivers flow, to abide therein forever. That is the great achievement. Allah.
Number 10 too, please.
Yes, sir. And those who disbelieve and reject our messages, they are the companions of fire, abiding therein. and evil is the result.
Did you want to do that first, Sister Belinda?
No, sir.
This one, I just parsed through this almost these entire two ayats in Arabic. The first thing I looked at was the manifestation of losses. It would seem that for the believer, this is a good thing, because you look at manifestation of losses and you automatically assume that we're going to lose something. But when you look at what the believers are losing, they're losing the evil that's within them. So the manifestation of losses is actually something positive for the believer, but it's something negative for the disbeliever. Allah says in the Holy Quran that he uses the fire to purify the believer, but he uses that same fire to destroy the disbeliever. Now, the day of losses, manifestation of losses, the literal translation actually means just the day of, it's another way of saying the day of resurrection. To remove the evil deeds translates to remove grief, torment, or pain. So this manifestation of losses, whoever believes and follows Minister Farrakhan with the Dianetics, oh no, it doesn't say that, but whoever believes and follows his instructions, that they will remove the evil from their hearts. And then it says, and cause them to enter gardens wherein rivers flow. The garden represents, now to admit or to enter gardens means to take possession of the inner part of self. So when they're entering the garden, the literal translation in Arabic is to enter or take possession the inner part of the mind. And the word, and wherein rivers flow, you got the word flow, and that's a word that's used a lot in the text. And it also means to be cause or to have agreement. So now we have one part of the ARC triangle. We have agreement. So, and they would receive great success. That is the great achievement. So the day of the manifestation of losses represents one group having grief removed from their heart or their mind, which would allow them to become cause and to receive luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. The other group, the companion, this is that word, the companions of the fire, that was the word that meant addiction. And I did find the doctor, his name is Dr. Gabor Mate. He's from Turkey. But if you watch his videos, I mean, his way of explaining addiction is probably the best explanation I've ever heard in my life. And then it says that evil is the resort. And the word resort means to fall or to descend. So you have one group of people that evil is going to be removed from their mind, which would allow them to achieve great wealth. And then you have another group of people that didn't listen to the minister. No, it doesn't say that, but didn't listen to the minister to get the tech, to remove these blockages, where he says go, go, and where he says stay from, stay from. And those that just said that the minister has sold us out, you know, their grief won't be removed. That's just my understanding, my impression, but that's how I see that ayat.
Now look,
Sister Belinda, you're on mute.
I was acknowledging your hand, beloved.
Okay, thank you. When Brother Lukman talked about what the minister said as it relates to Dianetics, and he talked about the grief being released from the mind. I'd just like to read just a portion of this letter from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as it relates to Dianetics. He said, I found something here, Dianetics, that I know we need, that will enable us to express the supreme wisdom that we already have. It's like having a safe full of riches, but we lost the combination. So through Brother L. Ron Hubbard, we can open the wisdom that we have and execute that wisdom in a way that Scientology will be proud of us and we of them. But we are not a people who hide our light under the bushel basket. If we know we have gained something here, we are not the type of people that are ungrateful for what we receive that allowed us to be better than what we are. And about 3 more lines. I believe that Master Farad Muhammad knew that a meeting was going to take place like this. I don't know if whether he met Brother L. Ron Hubbard, but I believe there was some contact. Scientists are like that. They meet in small little groups and they talk. And when they share with one another, they grasp little truth that they expand on. There is something here that belonged to us. And L. Ron Hubbard was a man we were destined to meet at the proper time.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Yes, so that's the minister helping us get the grief off of our mind.
Praise.
Oh, that's
Heard that.
Praise be to the Lord.
Heard that.
Okay, so if we don't have anything else, did you have something, Brother Clinton? I saw you were off mute. Okay, there.
Oh,
we go.
yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Thank you. I was just asking also, Brother Lukman, if the translation that he's given us, is it from the Arabic English Dictionary, the Hands Where
Yes.
Dictionary for Modern Written?
Yes, sir.
Okay, praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that dictionary gives you, does it give you a translation for just a word or also a sentence or short sentence or three
What
word?
it does is it'll give you the Arabic, the root word. It'll give you derivations of the word, and it'll give you some of what we call the idioms.
Okay.
So
And what is it called?
it's called the Hans Ware Dictionary of Modern Written Arabic. As you can see, mine is falling apart, but I got to get a new one.
I mean, you're putting it to use, brother.
Brother Lukman, could you put that back up again real quick?
Thank you. I was going to ask the same.
Or type it in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Hans, Hans, WEHR.
And he also sent the email out on, I think it was April 28th. So if you search back, you can see that information there also. I don't know if I'm the only one who got it.
I sent it out to everyone, and then there's a website I use. It's called the Quranic Corpus, and what it does is it allows you to search it allows you to go through each word of the Holy Quran, word by word, and it gives you it gives you the breakdown of the nouns, pronouns, prepositions. Thank you, and I use those two together when I clear the words in Arabic. The first thing I do is like I have the PDF Holy Quran. If I find a certain verse, and what I do is I can read the Arabic, but it's easier to go to the Quranic corpus and go exactly to the word, and then all you do is tap on that word, and it'll give you the root word, and it gives you everywhere in the Holy Quran where that word is used.
Praise be to Allah.
And I use those together to clear the Arabic. But the one thing you have to do is you have to learn the Arabic alphabet.
Sister Belinda, I like to say something just quickly. The scripture said, how can you know except you have a teacher? And I used to see all of those books in the org. you know, all of Ron L. Hubbard's books. And I couldn't understand how I couldn't understand, you know, how I could not understand all of this information. Now, I'm not saying it was like an ass carrying books because, you know, but I just, you know, when I pull one down, I'm like, okay, I'm still confused, you know, and I'm just giving honor to who honor is due. It says when the student, the teacher will appear. And so when I heard you all, I was like, where you been? You know, somebody can explain this to me. I know it was good for us, you know, because I keep hearing Brother Bateen words that, you know, we have supreme wisdom to make us inner God, but the dynamics will make us a God faster, is what he said to me. And so I was just thinking about that as we constantly, you know, I'm learning and I'm growing, and because I don't want to be, you know, just have books and not understanding. All you're getting, the scriptures say, get an understanding. So this is what I'm getting now. So praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Yeah, that was the minister's instruction. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. The
ahead.
sister who read the letter from Minister Farrakhan, can that letter be made available to us?
Yes, ma'am. We can email it out.
Would you like me to post it on the chat?
Sure. That would be lovely.
And can you also email it out, because I don't have access to the chat right now.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Sister Belinda?
Yes, ma'am.
In Surah 64, in the reading earlier today, the verse I had picked out was verse 4. He knows what is in the heavens and the earth, and he knows what you hide and what you manifest. And Allah is knower of what is in the hearts. And I believe that when Brother Luqman gave us his explanation of verse 2, you know, I feel now that verse 4 ties into exactly what Brother Luqman had said to us.
Yes, ma'am.
When he talked about that the believer and the disbeliever being that there's two parts of yourself. And so verse 4, it seems like that it expands upon that, in that Allah knows that part of us that we hide and that part of, that we manifest. And so a lot of the times what we manifest is what we want people to see of ourselves, not necessarily what's that hidden part underneath of, you know, I'm going to portray myself this way, but that's not really how I, you know, or what I think about the situation, but I'll just portray myself that way. And that it opens us up for that hypocrisy of saying that we believe when we may have believed, but now we've slipped into doubt, or we no longer believe,
Yes.
or we're unsure, you know.
I agree. It definitely ties in. Sister Cheryl, did you have something?
No, ma'am. I had something, but it left my mind. But oh no, I know what it was. When what sister said, how will we know if they don't send a teacher? But I have gotten more understandings in with Scientology and Dianetics since I've got connected with you all. And I went into Dianetics and Scientology when the nation broke up. So I was in my mid 20s. I'm 71 now. So I'm just validating the importance of what Allah has done with the people that's guiding us. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, ma'am. And that was the instruction I was saying when Sister Denise made her comment. That was the instruction from the minister, was to go get it and bring it back.
Yes, ma'am. That's another validation. I guess I'm having delayed understanding because when I went in Scientology, I was always fussing. I ain't had nobody to fuss with because I say, this is our data. They done stole our data. But I was a very militant young woman in my mid-20s. And of course, I didn't have you all there at that time. Allah had just sent me there. For what reason? But I stayed there because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us as a child for us to study, learn, and observe and form our own conclusions.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. So we don't have anything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have anything else?
Sister Belinda,
Yes, ma'am.
do you or Brother Lukman have the letter from L. Ron Hubbard where he talks about this technology has something in it for the Black people?
I believe I do have that.
Yes.
I think that would be something that we could read today that would help, bear witness.
Do you have it readily available?
No, I can't, but I was just wondering if you or Brother Lukman had it. I could try to pull it up.
Let me see if he has it quickly, because we are over time. I didn't want to hold us all day.
Okay. But it seems like today is a day of heavy bearing of witness, so of this teaching.
Yeah, definitely need that in hard copy, Sister Jacqueline. That's so important, that piece that Heron Hubbard wrote reference.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's in the book of the. I should put up the book.
And the words of Minister Farrakhan, I guess it's so large I can't send it in the chat.
I have it right here, sir. It says message for Black people, and this is from L. Ron Hubbard. It said, completely aside from what it means to the whites, Scientology offers the Black people of America a wonderful chance. The world's primary study of the mind has a long and excellent record of success across the world in improving the opportunity of man. If Scientology were to be used by the Black people of America, the gains for which they have striven so hard in the social world would be guaranteed. And I'll stop there.
Yes, ma'am. So inshallah, we will email both of those out to everyone.
I just emailed the words of the minister. It's what Sister Jacqueline had read, and there's another part that goes along with that was sent to me by a brother who brother Courtney is the one who sent it to me.
Yes, sir.
I just sent it out to the group as an email.
Okay, praise be to Allah. I see it.
Thank you.
And then we'll get the other one that she just read emailed out as well. So do we have anything else?
But Linda, do you want me to text that to you, or you want to go through your emails and put it up? Because I have it in the form of a text. Or you want me to email it to you?
Email would be better.
Okay, I'll email it to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I know we're pressed for time. Just want to highlight Surah 64, ayat 17. I know in the whole Quran, it talks a lot about charity. It hasn't expounded on it in great detail in one chapter, but in verses, it throw a lot of inference on charity. So if we are not getting 100% feedback, positive feedback from this Ramadan, even we're doing the prayers, we're doing the fasting, and everything else, if then maybe charity is missing. So charity is of vital importance in our work. Just to highlight that.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Doesn't have to be financial either. Just giving. In the Bible, it talks about it's better to give than to receive.
And what we'll say to that, Sister Jacqueline and I would say to that is Surah 51, ayat 55. for reminding prophets the believers. Anything else?
Is it possible to make an announcement?
Of course.
This is something I've been considering doing, oh God, probably about a year or so. The way my work schedule is, I work a 24-hour shift and then I have 3 days off in between. So I have a large chunk of time. And what I've been considering doing is when you deal with the problem book, and the instructions are that this teaches us about our miserable condition in a mathematical way. The first thing that I've learned about our miserable condition is that our people are afraid of mathematics. And I think that's by design. We were programmed to be afraid of mathematics. So what I've been considering was actually once Ramadan is completed, outside of the tech that we do on Sunday, I was considering maybe twice a week going through, and the believers that are interested in learning mathematics, we would actually start from the ground up.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir.
Because for us to have a problem book,
Yes,
but
count me
you know,
in.
some of us are, mathematics is like kryptonite. You know, as soon as we get
Yeah.
mathematics, that's like re-stimulation. You know,
Yes, sir.
so I was considering doing maybe, you know, and it'll be based on whoever's a part of the group. Send me an email as to what your highest level of mathematics is, and then what I will do is I will tailor the Zoom meetings. That way, everyone will be able to learn the mathematics. We'll start basic, and then as time goes on, we'll advance up, and then we'll go from arithmetic, you know, up until we get to maybe algebra down the road, and then, you know, if you want to go up to calculus and all that good stuff, we can get there. But we'll start with the basics. But the way we do the math, and this is the way I was teaching it in the prisons and teaching it for the Board of Education, even though I couldn't say I was teaching Islam because you can't mix religion. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you give a baby a bottle, you put some Islam in it. That way you don't know. So I would teach them life lessons in the math. So in teaching the math, we would go based on the minister's instructions. First, we put Allah at the center of our mathematics, and then we would learn a knowledge of self through the mathematics. So as we learn the math, we're going to learn something about Allah and learn something about ourselves at the same time.
Be to Allah, yes, sir.
So once Ramadan completes,
and after Eid,
Yeah, it has to be after Eid, because you know, I don't know, it's something about that rack of lamb. Just
so I'll say that we will start. I'll aim at, and it's a good number to start on. We'll start on Wednesday the 19th. At if Brother Batin doesn't continue to do the 10 a.m. meetings every day for the rest of the year.
which we will not.
And I'm telling you, I would love to do it. These past 30 days have been wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll start the first class next week, and I'll send out an invite to the group, and then whoever wants to be a part of it. All I ask is send me an email to let me know what your highest level of mathematics is. That way I can tailor the Zoom meetings to satisfy everybody.
yeah.
And what we will actually do is, as we go through it, we will begin to do some of the calculations that are found in the problem book and see if we can find.
Okay, and what are the levels of mathematics? So
Let me know. If everyone lets me know their levels, what I'll do is I'll if I have a large stretch, Then I can do one Zoom meeting to deal with basics, and then I can do another Zoom meeting to go a little more advanced. I have plenty of time in my hands because my schedule is free, because it's the way things work. I don't mind doing 2 or 3 Zoom meetings a week because it just gives me something to do. So you let me know what levels you have, and I'll try to keep people within the same groups. That way, you know, people that get lost. But eventually we're going to get everyone on the same sheet of music because we're all going to become mathematicians.
Praise. be to God.
Oh,
Okay, I think, Sister Jacqueline, did you have them?
I think you were asking my question for me. Brother Lukman, what are the various levels of mathematics?
Like, I identify them like you
Yeah,
have.
identify them, quantify, yes.
Okay. Well, there's an ayah in the Holy Quran that says that there's 8 that will uphold the throne.
other thing that work just like that.
oh, they
Okay, so the first 8 things that we deal with is, if you know these 8 levels of calculations, then you can do everything. You have to know arithmetic. So we're going to do arithmetic. We're going to deal with fractions. We're going to deal with decimals. Then we're going to deal with what's called integers. That's the first 4. Then after those 4, we're going to deal with what's called exponents. We're going to deal with rational numbers. Logarithms will come down the road. We won't even touch those. And then the 8th one is called scientific notation. Once you know those 8 levels of calculation, you can do anything from algebra to geometry to trigonometry. You can do it all. So we're gonna start with those first 8. Scientific notation you need to know, because when you deal with the problem book, you deal with these large numbers like 4,600,000,000. You're dealing with numbers with a lot of zeros.
Mhm.
And there's a way to handle that without dealing with all those zeros.
Okay, yes, sir.
If you look at the prefix of the certain words, like if you say sextillion,
Mhm.
if you take the prefix, because sex means 6. If you take the prefix, if you multiply it by 3 and then add 3, it gives you the number of ciphers that are in that number. So 6 sextillion, 6 times 3 is 18 plus 3 is 21. So the prefix tells you the number of zeros. There's a way of doing that math without dealing with all those zeros.
Okay, yes, sir.
Brother
So
Lukman,
Yeah.
years ago, Brother Student Minister Akbar was teaching from the rostrum, and he said that was Black people's problems, is that we can't think in zeros. So once we get past 100 or 1,000, that's it. We can't
Yeah,
think in
yeah.
zeros.
Mhm, mhm. And what I usually do is I take people to that one problem in the problem book that has all those zeros, and I in prison I would say, brother, there's a problem in the problem book you can't even read.
That's
The
right.
brother's like, oh, brother, I can read all. I said, brother, here, read that problem. It's just a number of atoms in the universe is. I said, yeah, see the pause.
Quintillion.
It's I think it's 70. It's 76 with 78 ciphers. That's actually 78 quinvigintillion is how you pronounce that whole big old.
Quinvigintillion.
Yeah, quinvigintillion.
Praise be to God.
But now the levels of mathematics, we'll be dealing with arithmetic. We're going to deal with fractions. We're going to deal with algebra. We're going to deal with geometry. Then after geometry, you got trig. And trigonometry is just geometry that deals specifically with triangles. And when you deal with trigonometry and triangles, triangles with relationship to circles, we can actually work the triangle to calculate ARC. There's a way to do ARC and trig at the same time. And to deal with the circle that represents God in relationship to man, which is the triangle, it's real interesting how you can put the Islam in there. And then way down the road, we could touch on calculus and all that other stuff. But the basics is what we want to get, because once the foundation is strong, you know, then we can calculate everything once you have a good foundation. So that's what we'll be dealing with. But we'll be learning our Islam. We'll be learning mathematical aspects of the Holy Quran, because there's mathematical codes in the Holy Quran that we can work with. And we'll deal a little bit with number theory. We'll make it real easy and Islamic for everyone. And what it does is we're gonna build ARC with mathematics.
Praise be to him.
We're gonna make sure the gradient isn't too steep. We're gonna clear the misunderstoods, and we're gonna have maths to look at. And then what happens is the mathematics actually becomes easy.
Praise be to him.
Praise be.
Are you good, Sister Jacqueline?
Alhamdulillah. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Exactly. Praise be to him.
Yes, indeed. I need that basic.
Thank you.
We're gonna learn a new language.
Basically. And I think that's the language that's spoken about in problem number 13. He cannot speak his language.
Yes.
That language was mathematics.
Praise.
That's one of our languages anyway.
Yes, sir.
Sister Denise, were you ever in Brother Dale's class years ago?
Oh, ma'am.
Oh, he was a math whiz, and he
Brother Darrell.
used to teach computer class for us. And we're not talking about computers as they have them now, but in the introductory stages of computers. But he broke that down into like the type of things you're talking about, Brother Lukman, and he took us back to the order of creation, in the order and motion and all of those and he made the computer science so easy to understand. So I'm really, really looking forward to this math class. All praises due to Allah.
It sounds like she's gonna be the substitute teacher, Brother Luke Mine.
That's right. Sound like the backup to me. And Sister Belinda, unless we're gonna have breakout sessions.
Right. Praise be to Allah. Okay, is everyone good?
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. We're gonna close out. Brother Clinton, are you available to close us out?
Are we gonna do our
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we need to decompress.
decompress after that? We come up too fast, we'll get the bends. I know I'm floating right now.
I was thinking she was just trying to line us up. She was gonna ask, so they'll come right after me. I was just waiting.
Sister Tina, did you have? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What about tonight? Are we doing anything tonight?
Yes.
Oh, that's right, Night of Power.
Oh, thank you for that. I believe he will be back, and I'm looking to see if he's going to unmute himself. He's on the road right now, so we believe it will be 10 p.m. tonight. But I will either send a text or email or both with confirmation on that. He believes he'll be back in time for holding a Night of Power, STW style.
Right. So
put a pen, pencil it in for 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Will do.
Thank you for that reminder, Sister Tina.
Yes, ma'am. All praise is due to Allah. Are we still going to, he had said at one time to have something that stood out to you in the Holy Quran, a verse or two that you may want to talk about and how Ramadan has affected you this month?
Yes, ma'am. That would be. That's the format. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sister Belinda, did Brother Clinton have the opportunity to respond?
I'm sorry?
Did Brother Clinton have the opportunity to respond to your question?
Yeah, I'm getting the thumbs up for the prayer.
Yes, ma'am. Certainly.
Okay.
So we'll go into the end of session now, Sister Jack.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, ma'am.
And please take a few moments to prepare yourself for the end of session. Thank you. Rapidly sketch over the session just ended. Begin. Thank you. Sketch over what you have been doing again with particular attention to how you have been sitting. Begin. Thank you. Go over the period of the session with regard only to what you have been doing with your hands and things in the exterior world you have heard during this session. Begin. Thank you. Fix your attention upon a pleasant object near you now. Begin. Thank you, and thank you all for your participation.
Thank you, Sister Jacqueline. Okay, Brother Clinton, whenever you are ready.
Man, certainly. Let's assume the position of prayer, which is most comfortable to us. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise belong to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, most merciful, Master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for thine aid, O Allah. Guide us on the right path, on the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. Ameen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Clinton.
Akbar.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brother Luke Mine.
Thank you, Sister Belinda.
Praise
Thank
be
you,
to Allah.
thank you. Thanks, man, everyone.
Say it again, Brother Clinton.
I was saying thank you, everyone. Beautiful, beautiful class.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes,
Beautiful class. man.
praise be to Allah. The host and host did a great job.
Praise be to
Yeah.
Allah.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam.
All family.
Ramadan Quranic.
Don Kareem.
Ramadan
Ramadan Kareem.
Love you all, family.
Love you too, beloved.
Magic hands.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank Allah.